Hey, welcome to another episode of Business Mojo and Margaritas, where I get all up in your business in 20 minutes or less. I am Suzanne Proxa, your host, business strategist and coach for female entrepreneurs, and my jams just happen to be client attraction and marketing. So let's not delay any further. Let's dive in. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Business Mojo and Margaritas. I am super excited today because I have never had anybody on to talk about being a mom and running a business. And today I have Julie Sanford with me, and she is going to tell us how to not lose sight of yourself while you're building your business. And I cannot wait to hear what she has to say. And as you guys know, I always let people just introduce themselves because they can do much better job than I can. So welcome, Julie.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here.
So tell us about yourself.
So as you said, I'm a mama and I have my own business. I actually have been building my business on the side of also working full time for the last 3.5 years until about a month ago. I was just finally able to make the leap to working on my business full time, which is super exciting.
Congrats.
But thank you so much. But during the time where I was doing both, plus momming on top of it, I started to really notice the fact that I've always been into health and fitness, but I noticed that I just was really kind of letting myself slide and pushing myself to the back burner, admittedly, mostly because I felt like I just didn't have time, building a business, plus working full time, plus doing all the mom things to really concentrate on what I needed to do for myself. So I just didn't. So out of that whole process and learning curve was kind of born my desire to figure it out and help other moms figure it out too, because it is a lot, and it is, like I said, it's kind of the easiest thing to just let that go to the side. So that's kind of become my new focus. But my business overall has just kind of always been about helping mamas get on a healthier track, helping them get on a healthier track with their family, serving healthier meals that are easy. Like, that's kind of my whole thing, is how do I make it easy and how do I make it doable when mom life is so incredibly chaotic?
And I think that's awesome because, most of the moms that I run across, they just don't know how to fit it in. They really don't. And so I think it's really important work that you're doing. And I absolutely love your business name, Well-Fed Families. I think that is so cool.
Thank you.
Yes, that's awesome. So let's talk about, 3 easy ways. Let's just dive right in. Like, what are 3 easy ways that entrepreneurial moms can start taking better care of themselves?
So I feel like first and foremost, you really have to, you have to schedule it in like you would any other appointment, and you have to treat it like you would any other commitment. So if you have something on the calendar, if you put it in writing, if it's in your planner, it's something that is most likely going to get done. It's like one of those to-dos. So you almost have to treat it like another to-do until you get into the habit of doing it on a regular basis, because if you don't, it's just going to fall to the wayside. So I really try to, either, like I said, put it on my planner, or I'll put a little reminder in my phone for it to pop up, when it's time for me to do my, morning routine or, workout or whatever it is, just so that I remember and feel like I'm committed to that like I would be to anything else. So get it on the calendar. Definitely make sure that it's something that is in the forefront of your mind, and so that you'll actually do it. The other thing is, like I mentioned, my morning routine. I started doing that just a few months back, and I really wish that I had been doing it for way longer. In the morning, when the alarm clock would ring, when I was getting ready, when I had to go to my full-time job, I would get up and it's just like you get up and you immediately have 5,000 things to do. And I'm not a morning person, so I'm not in the best mood to begin with. So having to like get up and think, okay, get ready, figure out breakfast, figure out lunches, who's doing what, is the kid awake, is, what's going on. It's super stressful already to be in that mind frame. And I really feel like it makes a huge difference when you just give yourself 15 minutes, even 30 minutes is better, but even just 15 minutes, setting your alarm clock 15 minutes earlier to just have that time to ease into the day, to get your mind right, to get your mood right, to just kind of, do something for yourself. It could be, a meditation, it could be yoga, stretching, just quiet time, like, whatever works for you to just really try to get into the right mindset to begin the day. That's definitely been huge for me.
Awesome. So can I cut in on that one real quick? I don't want to
Yeah.
throw you off.
No, you're fine.
But, I think a lot of people are probably going, oh, there's just no way that I can fit that in. And, because they're probably tired and exhausted and they're thinking, I'm not going to have the energy for that. But, a lot of people don't realize I'm a certified health coach too. And one thing that I know is that if you do incorporate these things, it can actually boost that energy level. I mean, don't you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Definitely. I mean, even just like getting up and, I've never been the kind of person that could ever get up at 5 a.m. and work out. That's just not realistic for me. That is never going to happen. Like I said, I'm grumpy. I'm just not in the mood. I feel like my body needs more time to actually wake up. But if I even just not necessarily do anything physical, if you even just like get up to just refresh yourself and refresh your mind first thing in the morning, it really does just make the whole day go more smoothly, and just definitely gives you more energy, because now you're in a way better mindset to address all the stressful things that are surely coming at you, starting first thing in the morning, especially if you're a mom and you've got to get kids off to school and all that too. So it really, really does make a huge difference.
Awesome. So I think I cut you off at number 2.
Yes. So the third thing is, I would just say this one is a huge one, and this one is something that I've definitely struggled with, and it's just being able to recognize when you need to take a step back in your business. And I don't mean like overall take a step back, but I mean take a step back from your trying to do right then. So I'm sure you've had times, I've had many, many times where you just start working on something and you just are going. And you're like, we actually were just talking about this before the call. It's like, I got to get this finished, and I'm just, on a deadline, and I just am trying to fit 50 things into 1 hour. And when I'm in that mindset, I start getting frustrated. I start losing focus. I start feeling overwhelmed. And you just have to recognize when you're at that point, even when you're really trying to get something done, give yourself a minute, give yourself, 30 minutes, whatever you need. Take a break away, go do something else, go for a walk, pick up a book, hang out with your kids for a little bit, whatever you need to do to kind of get out of that mindset where you're just like, oh my gosh, I got to get this done, because you're not being productive when you're in that space.
That is so true, because I had that yesterday. And as you know, I've got this summit coming up, and I had forgotten how much work they are. And
Sure.
I mean, I had to step away for a long time.
Yeah. And
to the point of feeling guilty about it,
Yeah, you have to though, because when you come back, you're so much more refreshed, and you're like, okay, now I can do this. I'm ready to pick this challenge back up again. But yeah, you have to give yourself a minute when you feel like that, regardless of, whatever goal you're trying to hit by whatever time. It's going to be way more easy to do if you just take a break to refresh for a second.
So true. And, I mentioned the guilt factor. I mean, do you have techniques, or do you even feel that way when you take a moment? Do you feel the whole guilt thing?
I definitely do. And I try. The first 5 minutes of me trying to like take a step away is me thinking about what I was just doing,
Yeah.
still, because it's hard to kind of like transition immediately out of that mind frame. But, doing something like picking up a book or something like that, that's really going to distract you and force you to think of something else, I feel like is really helpful. And you can't feel guilty about it, because like I said, you're you're ultimately doing something good to where you can go back and focus better than you would have if you had just, kept going.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely that mindset piece too, where you just have to train yourself.
For sure.
I think we know that it's going to help us in the end, but sometimes it's just hard.
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like the more you kind of make yourself do it, the easier it is.
True. Definitely. So, there's a lot of things that go into this. I mean, everybody has something, and of course your specialty is working with moms, and like you said, you were a mom, you were working full time and doing a business, and you know, typically a lot of us have that. Like for me, I've got the business and I work full time and I've got the chronic illness.
Hmm.
And so there's more to it than, just relaxing and things like that. The certified health coach in me knows that, there's diet and exercise and all of these things. So what are some simple practices that busy moms can actually start to do to improve their diet? Because I know it's hard. They've got all of these people in the house that they're trying to feed, and everybody likes something different, and maybe
For
sometimes
sure.
it's not the healthiest.
Yeah, absolutely. So true. I think the biggest thing is you just want to always have a plan. And I went through, I mean, I've done pretty much every eating plan known to man at this point, but I feel like there's so many of them that are all about, meal prep, and you have to make all this food and you have to do all these things. And I've done that a couple of times on the weekend. And while it was great that I had, a ton of choices throughout the week, I felt kind of mad that I had given up my precious free time. Sometimes it takes like a whole day to do that. Well, you only get 2 weekend days and you have, kid games and scout meetings and whatever else. And then you're spending, your entire Sunday or whatever doing all this meal prep. And I would feel a little ripped off after that. I'm like, well, now half my weekends, been taken up by this. So I feel like being able to find the balance between having a plan and having some stuff ready and not committing an entire weekend day to doing that is kind of where I try to land. So definitely you want to have a plan for what you're going to eat, but it doesn't have to be like breakfast on Monday, I'm going to eat A, B, and C, and lunch on Tuesday, I'm going to eat these things. You can kind of have just like a loose plan, to where you at least know that you have some good options, but it doesn't have to be super structured to where you're putting a ton of time into it at the beginning of the week. So I definitely want to have some sort of an idea. The other thing would be to maybe make a few things on the weekend, but just some simple things. Like I usually spend 30 minutes just, I don't know, putting some, chicken in the crock pot to have ready, or making like a quick little salad, like a bean salad or something that I can have for lunches, or, chopping up some veggies or things like that, that are just really super fast, but gives you some options to grab and go throughout the week ahead. So that's definitely one thing that I try to do every single week. But again, not taking a ton of time on it, because I don't have a ton of time to spend on it. And then the other thing I would say is try to keep a list of things that you enjoy eating that are better for you. So every single week I would kind of try to decide what I was going to get at the grocery store and what I was going to eat. And I always felt like it was the first time that I had ever done it, because just nothing would come to mind. And it was just always so frustrating. Like, okay, now I'm have to travel down the Pinterest wormhole and try to figure out breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you do it for like 30 minutes and you're like, forget it. I'll just run around the grocery store and grab whatever looks good, which obviously isn't the best plan. So I've tried to start to keep a master list. I have one in my phone, and then I have one on my fridge of things that are quick, healthy meals that I don't really have to think about. I just look at my list and I'm like, oh yeah, that was really good when I had it. So I'll get the stuff to do that again this week. Or I really like that snack, so I'll grab those things. So it's kind of easier to not have to think about it every single time. You kind of have it right in front of your face, and you can just say, yeah, I'm going to get this, 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 and then make your list and you're good to go.
I love that. So in the beginning of the podcast, you mentioned that you were finally able to leave the 9 to 5, which is fabulous.
Thank you. So
And
exciting.
yes. And the other thing that you mentioned was it was like a 3.5 year journey, which I want to emphasize for people.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yes.
is not always a quick thing, you guys. I know that I had quit the job I had because I thought I was going to make, 6, 7 figures within 2 months based on what I saw online. That is not true.
Mm-mm.
So there's my plug for that.
Yes, for sure.
But I would love to hear, if you don't mind sharing, like what challenges you had during that time and, just maybe some thoughts on how you overcame those challenges to kind of encourage the people in the audience.
Yes, of course. So time is just the biggest challenge. And, having the job and then coming home and basically only having evenings and weekends to work on this, as a mom, you also have the guilt because it's like, okay, well, now I'm home from work and I should be spending time with my family, but I have this dream I'm trying to build and this business I'm trying to build. And it was just, it's hard to find the time and find the balance. That was probably my biggest challenge. So I would really have set times when I tried to work on it, and then set times when I knew I wasn't going to. So weekends, first thing in the morning. Saturday morning, I would always get up and just spend as much time as I could until everybody started milling around and, people need breakfast and all those things. But Saturday morning, I knew I could at least get in a couple of hours. And then in the evenings, kind of same thing. I would either do it like right when I got home, spend an hour or so, or right before bed, or whenever time allowed. But that was definitely the biggest challenge is just time. And I think that's why if you're working, it's going to take a while because you don't have 8 hours a day to devote to your business. And funny thing, now that that's all I'm doing, I kind of find myself feeling like I'm not doing enough because I was so used to doing, all the things all the time. And now I feel like, did I work enough today? Like, and then I think back in my mind, I'm like, well, yeah, I did, I did this, this, and this. I mean, that's more than I would accomplish in a whole work week before. So that's been an interesting transition. But yeah, you just have to kind of find the balance of working on your business and, still being there for your family. That's probably the toughest part.
Yeah. And I mean, did you feel supported during that process?
Absolutely. My husband's been great. As I'm sure you have and everybody else has, I've wanted to give up 1,000 times.
Yes.
And he has always told me, just keep going, just keep going. And so that's really been huge.
And it was worth it.
Yes. Oh my gosh, so worth it. You definitely just have to, work on it when you can and just realize, like you said, it's not going to be a super fast process. It's not going to be overnight by any stretch, no matter who says what on the internet. But just keep going.
That's awesome. So, Julie, I mean, really great thoughts and tips, and it's great to hear your story because that's very encouraging for other people who are out there. And, I think another big takeaway is the just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Like Julie said, I can't even tell you how many times I've wanted to quit. And I dare say some of them have probably been within the last 2 months.
Right.
I
don't think that ever goes away.
Because I was so tired.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so I think that there's some real takeaways there for you guys, and just know that if you do keep at it, that it will get better, it will get easier, and you'll have that opportunity to get out there and live your dreams and then have that flexibility that everybody wants, where you don't have to feel like you're asking for permission for everything, like when you have to go to your boss every single time your kid has the sniffles and beg.
Yes.
Totally.
So
yeah. So I'm sure that, people listening are inspired and they're like, oh my gosh, how do I get more Julie? How do I find her? Do you want to share like your social media and where people can reach you, your website, all of that?
Yes, absolutely. That'd be awesome. So I'm pretty much well-fed families across the board online. So my website is well-fed families, and then Facebook, same thing, / well-fed families, Instagram, same thing. Pinterest, same thing. I love me some Pinterest, so I'm on there a lot. And I have a lot of really awesome boards with some great, all kinds of family-friendly recipes and all kinds of fun stuff. And then I also definitely wanted to mention, I just launched a program that has been on my heart for so long. Like I said, I really just feel for the struggles of these mamas who, are working a full-time job, mompreneurs, trying to do all the mom things. And I know how hard it is. And so my heart is just to help you with that and make it easier for you and make, getting healthy and being healthy and feeling energized and all those things a reality, regardless of how busy your life is. So my program is called Cleanio for Fat Loss. It is a brand new type of eating plan. It's a hybrid between clean eating and paleo, which I have kind of settled into because it's so much more realistic for my busy life and it's super effective. My program has a big self-care component in it, which, as we've talked about, is so important and it always gets like pushed to the back burner. So I really wanted to make that a big part of it. It's a holistic program. It's fantastic. I would absolutely love for you guys to check it out. And you can also find that on my website as well.
Wow, that sounds awesome.
I am so proud of it. It is so great. And I can't wait to help other mamas through that process because it's a hard one, but it's not as hard as you think it is.
Yeah, so I'm going to give you major props right now because one of the things that I was just talking about in one of the presentations that I'm recording is that, yeah, the market is oversaturated, but you can stand out. You just have to be different. And this is the perfect example.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I feel like that component is it's such an important layer. Learning how to love yourself and take care of yourself through that journey instead of just when you arrive at your, preconceived destination. It just makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, well, that sounds amazing. So ladies, I would definitely go check that out. That's definitely not like anything I've heard of before. So seriously, congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Well, thank you so much for being on today. You're a delight.
Thank you.
I wish you so much success with this program.
Thank you. And thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. It's been fun.
Yeah. So everybody find her. Well-Fed Families. She is everywhere. And she mentioned Pinterest. Yes.
Love me some Pinterest.
Love Pinterest. Well, thanks again, Julie. And to the audience, thank you for listening again. I love you guys dearly. Make sure that you join me over at my Facebook group with the same name. I have an easy way to get there. Fempreneurs.biz will take you there. But please make sure you answer the questions so we know that you are in business or you may get declined. So much love to everybody, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Thank you so much for listening to another episode. I'm so glad you decided to roll with me yet again. Hey, if you loved it, please give me a rating and some little comments on iTunes. And hey, if you're thinking that working together with my crazy self sounds like a fantastic idea, hunt me down, SuzanneProxa.com. That K is before the S. You can find all of my coaching information, my blog, my courses, all of the things, all right in one spot. And with that, I will see you in the next episode, gorgeous.